Okay, welcome to the third of our 2017 Alumni webinar series. I'm pleased to introduce today Scott Dahl. He is a multidisciplinary designer with excellent hands-on administrative, presentation, and communication skills. He has an experienced track record of developing many commercial and retail interiors, recreational projects including theme park attractions, interactive exhibits, and corporate event environments. Scott has over 12 years of teaching experience at the university level. He previously served as program chair for interior design and computer-aided design and drafting for Westwood College and is now faculty for National American University's CAD courses. He helps his students develop personal online portfolios to assist in their career placement objectives. And today he will be presenting on the value of an online portfolio. It is my privilege to introduce Mr. Scott Dahl. And Scott, to get you started, I am going to turn the controls over to you.
Well, thank you, Tammy. And it looks like I do indeed have control. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for taking the time to view this webinar entitled The Value of an Online Portfolio. I thought it would be good to start with a simple question. Why have an online portfolio? Well, the simple answer is because they work. And they're really a proven method of success for finding employment. It's been working really well for a lot of our graduates. And so, yeah, I highly recommend, and the school highly recommends, using an online portfolio. And, but don't take my words for it. Let's hear from some student comments. Just some notes that students have sent to me that I wanted to share, and I'll just read them verbatim. All my hard work has paid off. I've accepted an offer from Anderson Steel Supply as a structural steel detailer. Thank you for all your help along the way. And the key line, I know my portfolio was key to me getting this job. Another student sent another message. Thank you for the advice about my online portfolio. Having a refined resume and portfolio really keywords gave me a lot of confidence while interviewing, and they really liked how well it all went together. There's no way I would have gotten the job without this help. Keywords there being the portfolio gave the graduate a lot of confidence. We find that is absolutely true in 99 out of 100 cases. And they really liked how well it went together. So that just stresses the importance of having a well-organized website. Some issues we'll get to in a little more detail in a few minutes. Another student said, I've had great success. I have found a job working as a designer and product estimator for Menards Midwestern Manufacturing, which is the company I was hoping to start this new chapter of my life with. And I have another company that has called me for a second interview who viewed my portfolio. Another student said, I found a job as an architectural drafter with Caldwell. My portfolio made a great difference in my favor in order to get this job. And for that, I am very thankful for your guidance. Thank you very much. Some of the key words here was that he has the website published, a great opportunity for companies to view, easily view and conveniently view your work. And it can really be the piece that tips the scale in your favor compared to some other applicants. So we're going to come back to those student quotes at the end of the presentation, but I think it's always great to hear some success stories, and we've got plenty more of those. But so let's just start with this question. What is an online portfolio? Well, an online portfolio is a type of personal website that showcases your skills, your work at college, and relevant professional experience. What it is not is a company website. It's not a way to find freelance work. You can create a different website for that purpose if you wish, but I have found many potential employers actually will not hire someone if they think you're more interested in starting your own company or finding side work. They want you to work for them. So this is not about your personal life or a company that you want to be in the future. Now, however, with that said, an online portfolio does promote you. You're the brand, but it's a tool to find a job. Not start a company or get side work. It's a tool to find a job. As I say, you can have another website to promote yourself as a company, and that would be absolutely wonderful, and it might even have a lot of the same material. But what we're talking about is online portfolio, which is just another tool to help you get a job. Prospective employers can use an online portfolio to quickly and easily view your body of work and get a good idea about your skills relative to others they are considering for the job. Now, the difference between a portfolio, resume, and personal website, some of these things might seem obvious, but they're worth reviewing. A portfolio provides a very visual opportunity to show off your skills and projects. It will include your resume most times, as well as examples of your work. A personal website and portfolio website are similar, but again, a personal website is more about you than examples of your work. And they can be effective if you're, as it says here, a consultant or a freelancer, but again, not as effective if you're seeking a job. Often hear this question: are portfolios only for people in the visual arts? Well, they are very effective for people in the visual arts, such as graphic designers, photographers, web developers, and the such. But they are not limited to just visual arts careers. Many prospective employers will seek employees with project planning, writing, management experience. So an online portfolio can showcase those talents as well through writing examples, blogs you maintain, paperwork like a project management flow chart, case studies of problems you've solved, photos of finished projects, and other materials that you might have. And one of the big questions we're often asked is, what does it cost to host a website like this? Well, an online portfolio site. And the answer is nothing. There are many free sites available. One recommended service is Wix.com, very popular, but it is very user-friendly. Advanced computer skills are not required, and they are free. Other sites are Blogspot, Behance, Coraflot, Weebly. There's many out there, but there's no cost, so no need to worry about that. And just a few things before we get to some of the specifics about websites. I always like to remind students and graduates and alumni is that creating this online portfolio is still just one part of the whole job search process. There are other steps: getting organized, which is to say writing your resume, cover letter, thank you letter, networking and researching companies, making contact, and in some cases actually showing up to drop off a resume. The follow-up, very important, to ask for an interview, to ask for a portfolio review, an informational interview, a tour of their office. Get your foot in the door any way you can. Be open-minded to many types of jobs. Build that resume, of course. And also, what we're here to talk about, creating an online portfolio. As I said, getting organized, right? Just writing that resume, cover letter, and thank you letter. Very important. Get on that as soon as possible, even while you're still in school. It can take weeks, if not months, to see the results of your preparation. So start this as soon as you can. Having well-written letters ready to use makes the process go much quicker. I certainly don't want to be writing your cover letters each and every time. Have them prepared and well-written and thought out. And that is a process, the structure of your letters. So if you're unsure about your writing, reach out for help in that regard. The cover letter especially is a potential employer's first hint at who you are. You can catch their eye with a strong introduction. Be specific about who you are, what they're looking for, how you will fill the need, and what you can bring to their company. And work on a strong, as I said, a strong cover letter. I highly recommend you use your resume summary in the body of the letter, so you're building a consistent message. I always suggest do not emphasize you're still in school or that you're not working or you're looking to learn from them. Most people want people who will contribute right away. So quite often it's not what you say, but how you say it. Networking and researching. A lot of people will say as many as 80% of jobs, especially entry-level jobs, are not advertised. They are found by researching companies, making cold calls, sending your resume, and following up. Certainly respond to open job ads when you see them, but do not just rely on open job ads. And join professional organizations. It can expose you to a lot of other professionals, industry events, trade show coverage, newsletters, project profiles, just a lot of benefits from networking in that way. And certainly if you don't already, create a LinkedIn profile. It's very popular these days and a great way to network. Making contact. Research many types of companies. I find often if you're having trouble finding work, you might just need to expand your idea of the industry. Some people just have a narrow vision of the type of job they're looking for. And there's often sort of more avenues to apply your training than maybe you've thought of. So research many types of companies. And when you contact them, don't make it seem like you've just found them. And there's a little clever cartoon over here from a doctor who says it doesn't fill me with confidence that you just found my name in the yellow pages. Just do a quick sort of research, even at their website. Be able to add a line or two in your cover letter that makes it seem as though you're familiar with their work, even if you're not. Even if you have a couple lines to drop while walking down the hallway during an interview, it just makes it seem as though you did your research and you know who they are. And call and find out who to send your resume to. Often people tell me, oh yeah, I sent out 10 resumes. I say, well, who'd you send them to? Well, I'm not really sure. I sent it to HR or someone gave me a name. So did you call and confirm that that was the right person to send it to? And I said, no. Well, chances are that resume ended up in the wrong hands, in the trash, and you might not hear anything about it. You've got to pick up the phone. You've got to make contact or even walk in the door and say, who can I send this resume to? Do you hire people like me? And even if they don't, maybe they will in the future. So send it anyway. Be persistent. And ask for a portfolio review if possible. Most folks will at least give you feedback on your portfolio of items, even if they're not looking to hire somebody. And that kind of feedback is very important. And of course, follow up. As I said, persistent pays. Persistence pays. Just look at this as a lifelong process. Some of this networking that you're doing are people that you will be in touch with throughout your career. And sometimes, as I said, it might take weeks, months, if not years. I've had actually 2 great jobs in my life that I got 2 years literally after I first made contact with those companies. I didn't feel bad that I didn't get the job the first time. I kept in touch with them, and one thing led to another down the road. So look at it as a lifelong process. And as I said, be open-minded. Contact many different types of companies. And remember, it's easier to find work when you're already employed. Employers like to see that you're working. So don't be afraid to take a job that might not be your first choice. You can always keep looking while you're working. I find a lot of graduates are a little picky when they leave school, and in any market. I wouldn't even just say in a tough economic climate, but in any time. It's nice to be working, nice to get that experience. All experience is good experience. So be willing to learn, be willing to take a job that might not be your favorite. And as I said, you can always keep looking. And of course, build that resume. Volunteer work can be a great way to do that. Side work that you're doing, weekends. But I always find even finding part-time work or an internship, or as I said, night work, weekend work. It's all the same process. You still have to reach out to those companies. You have to research them. You have to contact them. You have to find out who to send your items to. So it's really a similar process. It's just what you're asking for. And because I'm suggesting that you contact a lot of employers with cold calls, you don't know if they're looking for someone. So you pick up the phone and you say, hi, are you hiring? And they might say, well, what are you looking for? And you can say, you're looking for all types of opportunities, full-time work, or you would still be interested in part-time work, or even as a freelancer. And I said, I don't want your portfolio geared to find freelance work, but when you're contacting people, the idea is to get yourself in the door. And presenting your portfolio is the same for any of those types of opportunities. So. And of course, last but not least, create that online portfolio. But do it right. My first line here, a bad website can actually do more harm than good. Because chances are an employer is going to be seeing that before they meet you. If you send them your cover letter and with your portfolio link, it's a great way to get your work in their hands immediately and very quickly and easily. Give them access to it, and you can even walk them through your website over the phone, which is just a really great and efficient way, rather than waiting to schedule an appointment, bring in your hard copy of your materials and sit down, for a face-to-face meeting. I've had quite a few graduates who have contacted folks and been able to review their portfolio, their website, online portfolio, over the telephone immediately. So it's really convenient. But my point being, if it's not well done, it will pretty much eliminate any chance of you getting in there for a face-to-face interview. So you've got to do it right. A bad first impression is hard to overcome. And developing a consistent message. I'm going to talk a little bit here about using your resume summary in your letters and on your portfolio as a personal mission statement. Use consistent branding. The same accent color and font throughout all of them. I don't suggest you get overly ornate with your items, but I do suggest choosing an accent color for your materials. Nothing bright or shiny, but a muted color for your name and headings on your resume, and then use that accent color on your website or on your portfolio website. Even shades of gray work really well. I've had some graduates do wonderful things with black and white with just a medium gray as an accent, or just a muted blue. Just a little something ties things together, and employers really do remember that. Even just a little bit of branding. As I said, just the accent color and a consistent font. And again, just avoid overly ornate backgrounds. Sometimes a lot of employers are a little suspicious that if your resume or your website is just a little too decorative, that you're trying to make some less good work look better. That often can be the case. So keep it simple, let your work do the talk. And a slide here, just one last slide on why have an online portfolio. Again, because they work. They show who you are quickly and accurately. They promote you, your skills and experience. They prepare you to find a job. They'll really build your confidence. And always update your resume and portfolio with new work. And a line I heard in a previous webinar, Promote Thyself, I think was the second one of 2017 at the school. That presenter had a really great line that was, be prepared to lose your job. And I really thought that was a great line, which is to say, keep your resume updated, keep your portfolio updated. Updating those really is a lifelong process of building your portfolio, just adding project after project after project. And that way you are prepared, because all of this takes quite a bit of effort. And if you do have to look for a job, you don't have to put in those weeks or, God forbid, months of work assembling all of these. So, be prepared. So again, a consistent message. So I always recommend this on a resume summary. to be used throughout other items. So just as an example here, one of my students, this is the resume summary. I'm an architectural drafter and CAD operator with purchasing, customer service, and manufacturing experience, seeking to apply my technical skills on challenging and rewarding projects with opportunity for advancement. Great resume summary. Also includes that in the student's cover letter. Right away. First sentence says why you're writing. I'm applying for the entry-level AutoCAD drafting and design position in your company. And the second sentence is a repeat of the resume summary. I am an architectural drafter and CAD operator with purchasing, customer service, experience, et cetera, et cetera. I'll make a strong addition to the Paradise design team. Close that little paragraph by mentioning their company name. Just have to edit that each time. But again, it's a consistent message. I even suggest it in a thank you note. Don't look at it as a quick thank you. Hey, thanks for looking at my stuff. Nice to meet you. No, use even that thank you letter as an opportunity to say, thank you for your time. This is who I am. Don't assume they remember you. They might be looking at a lot of applicants. Repeat that again. That's your elevator pitch. And it's not always easy to summarize who you are and what you do and what you want. So it's really important to put the effort into writing yourself a good summary, that good elevator pitch, and reuse it. Be consistent. Reinforce that message. And use it on the website. So for example, this student, as you can see here, is another, what they call a profile or summary. And then just broke that into a 3-line mission statement at the top of her website. We just took that, used the same verbiage, just a way of using it twice, but making it appear a little different so as to not get too redundant. Because the resume is on her website, but then on the homepage to break it into a 3-line mission statement. Or some graduates just like to repeat that summary right there on the homepage. Either way, again, consistent message. Use it in both places. And as I said, brand yourself with an accent color and font. Stay away, I always suggest, from Times Roman. To me, it just looks a little bit outdated. I've heard someone say that using Times Roman is like wearing pajamas to an interview, and I don't know if it's that bad, but I say use a contemporary font, and by that I mean a sans serif font. But in either case, use the same font throughout all your items and an accent color. Stay consistent. So they can identify and remember you. But again, keep it simple. This is not for self-expression, right? Let your work do the talking. Keep it simple and clean. Again, avoid overcomplicating backgrounds. For example, here's a simple color scheme of a graduate with just blue. You can see the blue tabs, found a template on Wix that had blue tabs, used blue on their layouts on the homepage, which we'll talk about the idea of these layouts in a little bit. And then down in the resume, just blue for the name, blue for the headings. And that's it, just a little bit of an accent. This one may be a little bit more, but again, this was a stock background from the free website. This student did use this pale yellow. So even with a color, notice that it's still muted. It's not a vibrant, very saturated, bright primary color. Stay away from those, keep it muted. And I thought this worked very well with the shades of gray, but then also on the resume here, you can see she used a similar color for her headings on the resume. That's it, just a simple accent. Even went with a darker shade for the last name. That's always a nice touch as well. But again, not too much. This student, maybe took it a little step further, and had, again, it's a stock image, and it fit that she was into CAD and architectural drafting, and so the image kind of related. It's about as far as I would suggest you go with it, though, if you find a nice background image. But again, she did then kind of take the warm tone of the wood here and use it for this muted orange on the resume and the name. So again, I think even though it's attractive, it's still fairly subtle. The homepage of your website. Unfortunately, people may only spend a few seconds on your website. People often say potential employers will only spend 10 seconds on your resume. Well, they might only spend 10 seconds on your website if they don't immediately see what they want. And that's another reason for putting that resume summary or mission at the top of the page, and examples of your work on the homepage. So include your name, title it accurately, include your resume summary and a brief mission statement, set up work tabs as categories. We'll get there in a moment. Place layouts on the homepage that highlight your categories of skills in case the viewer does not click on your tabs. Set up an About Me tab for your resume and a Contact tab with your name, city, phone, and email. And as I said, include your name and title it accurately. For example, if you're into criminal justice, Janet Smith, criminal justice portfolio, not Jane Smith security firm. If you're Jose Salazar, CAD and architectural drafting portfolio, that's what you want, not Jane Smith Design Services, right? Not a company name. Don't say we offer this, we offer that, right? It's just this is my portfolio, and this is who I am. So again, it's not a company website. So titling it accurately is very important. Add your resume summary or your mission statement. Here's two more examples. So the student, the name, CAD architectural drafting portfolio, mission statement off to the side, categories of tabs, residential, commercial, interior, millwork, manual drafting. Or it could be creative writing, proposal writing, digital imaging, marketing analysis, examples of your work. The student as well, as you saw there, oops, at the bottom, we'll go back there. Again, mission statement at the top of the page with just two tabs. So it's very important to use those tabs to organize your work because one potential employer might only be interested in certain types of your work. They might only be interested in your creative writing. They might only be interested in your residential work, whatever the case may be. So that allows them to sort of customize their visit instead of just starting with a pile of images, a pile of information. They don't know where the beginning is. They don't know where they are in the middle, just kind of fumbling through it to the end. This way it breaks things out into categories. And as I said, sort of they can take their own self-guided tour of your website, so to speak. Layouts for your work, which I've mentioned a couple of times. So I always suggest that you create layouts for your categories. So when we say click on creative writing, it isn't just the front page of one of your pieces or one of your poems or a short story. In Photoshop, PowerPoint, whatever you're comfortable with, make a layout that says your name, what it is, creative writing, with images, a little description, and then after that you include the poem or the short story or whatever, but it's just a little intro, and this is the piece that would go on the home page. So they would get these examples of these layouts that give sort of an overall image of each of your categories before they can then go to that tab and look at individual items. Place them on your home page. And we're going to look at an example of a website after this. I think we'll maybe explain this in a little more detail. But again, so these kind of layouts, I always suggest add a title ribbon, add images, and again, these could be the front covers of your proposals. These could be examples of your poetry. This is examples of someone's design work, visual examples. This is a brief description, and I always say use a 3-sentence description, no more than that. People really just want to kind of plow through the projects, just explain generally what they are. And maybe some supporting images if it's appropriate. And again, here are also some other examples of layouts. This person did machine work in a tool room, and that was what he felt was a strength of his. So I said, well, you know what? Let's create a layout of that type of work that you did. This person did electrical work. So we created a tab for his electrical work because he had just been an electrician. So he thought, well, you know, we can put that together. This person did some custom mill work designs. And so she wanted a tab to highlight that work. So it was basically the training. As I said, if this was a CAD student, they had their residential, their commercial work, but then another tab for things they had done on the outside in their professional work. And of course, the About Me tab and the Contact tab. Here we have an example of the About Me tab with the student's resume. Again, you can see kind of the subtle color scheme. It just had and it's a stock background, but a light blue stripe. Also used blue, this graduate, for the name and heading on the resume. And then on the Contact tab, again, I always say phone, city, email, but not your street address. I just might not want everyone looking at your website to know your exact address. So remember to actually take your street address off of the resume that you put on the website. Just my suggestion. And I always find a good tip is to pick an example to follow. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can ask a teacher, an advisor, or if you just find one, you know, of your own, really, you know, online, that will work as well. But, you know, just reach out for help and find an example and just follow that to help build. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And whatever helps, I think, make this process easier, quicker, less painful is a good thing. And again, so I just want to go back to, you know, those student comments. I know my portfolio was key to me getting this job. The portfolio really gave me a lot of confidence. No way I would have gotten the job without it. Another company has viewed my portfolio. It made a great difference in my favor. So we really hope that you can add your own successful comments after you have created one of these. And so I have some student examples, and so I just want to take a quick look at one. So you probably saw, if you remember, a screenshot of this in the presentation. Again, this gentleman was a CAD and architectural drafting student. Again, the mission statement. If we click on his resume tab, you will basically see all these keywords in his resume summary. Categories of work: residential, commercial, interior, millwork, manual drafting, the Contact tab. But this is just a good example of these these layouts, rather. And again, I think he actually did these in PowerPoint. None of this takes an incredible amount of advanced computer skills. These were done in PowerPoint, these layouts, and it's a free website with a template that's really easy to set up. Wix is and all of them, actually. I have more experience with Wix and Weebly and Coraflot than others, but incredibly user-friendly, easy to set up, easy to maintain, and again, they're free. But, you know, here, for example, are just layouts of all of his projects, and just set to scroll through every 2 seconds. So, you know what, if I'm a potential employer, I came on here to the website. While I'm reading his name, I'm getting a glimpse of this, and you know what, I say, you know what, this is exactly what I'm looking for. The nice thing about these layouts is it gives a glimpse of all of your skills. So, for example, this graduate has examples of rendering, examples of technical drawings, examples of interiors, examples of residential work, examples of commercial work. But you're getting all of the skills right away, as opposed to clicking on a tab and looking at each individual drawing one at a time, or going through and reading every one of your poems one at a time. or going through every one of your business plans one at a time, all right? Or going through some of your criminal justice projects or work experience one at a time. So you create a layout, and this could be, as I said, Janet Smith, proposed schedule, for let's just say a project in criminal justice. Maybe you're looking at scheduling workload or something. And you can have covers of those proposals, maybe some supporting images, a picture of you at work in your uniform, standing in front of something, talking with a colleague. Just gives a person a little better idea of what your skills are and what the whole layout is about. So I always tell graduates, that's why I want to see these samples. Even if they had to add these later, they didn't pick these samples before they did the project, but we added them in later. So I look at it really quickly and I get an idea, okay, I understand what this is all about. The irony is the more you work you put into this, probably the less time anyone will look at it, because they will just get it. They'll get it right away. They'll get what you do, who you are. If it isn't clear, they could spend minutes and minutes trying to figure out, well, what is your work about? Well, I see a poem here. Well, I see they worked on a presentation here. So they did some, I'm not sure who this person is. I don't know what they want, who they are. Why are they contacting me? But if it's clear and you put the time into presenting yourself properly, they'll get it right away. Oh, I get it. I want to hire this person. I can see they have what I want. So that's the irony. The more you put into it, might be the less time a potential employer will look at it, but it'll be much more effective. And that's what you want, something that is quick and easy to look at and very accessible. And again, so here's the examples. I'll just click on this tab. And then each one of those that we saw earlier, of those layouts on the home page, is here. And then you can click on an arrow and go through every single image that was on that layout. So now I can go through here and I can look at each one in more detail if I want. If I want to click on your creative writing, I'll click on the creative tab and I'll just look at that. So now I can go into things at my own pace, looking at things more in detail. And here's the layouts. Here's the title of the project, the description, right off of the main layout. But I think very well organized, very easy to maneuver. And I'll just look at one more, another example. Again, layouts on the home page. You can click through them. Gives me a great idea overall. This person has some technical ability, was able to do reflected ceiling plans and lighting plans, also design work, interiors. Great. I see construction documents. I see renderings. Oh, I know this is residential construction documents because I see the little image of a house being framed. Again, that's a supporting image, as I said. Just helps the viewer know what you're trying to show me, that, oh, you can do construction documents. I get it. And then, of course, we can click on the tab, as I said, and then we can go and look at those layouts, but then also go through each one of your individual items. As I said, these could be cover pages of your proposals, every page of a 10-page proposal, or it could be every page of a 3-page poem or essay or short story, whatever the case may be. But create that, if you will, the book cover that we put on the home page, and each one of these layouts is sort of the book cover, and then we can open the book and go through each page. So that's about all I have today. Like I said, I'm really passionate about these, and reach out for advice, but they can be really effective.
Well, thank you, Scott. That was excellent. I have a couple questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
When we first were talking about your webinar and preparing for it, and you commented on this earlier, I really see, I mean, these end products are outstanding, but I can also see that the process of preparing it is really empowering. You get to know yourself a little bit better. And as you're preparing it, you're sort of distilling down what really matters to help prepare you for a potential interview. You're better able to sell yourself and feel good about yourself. So I see that as a great takeaway for these online portfolios too.
Absolutely, 100%. And I was really glad that I had a student quote like that, where they said it really gave me confidence. And I find that in my class, and I do this in my 9-10 week class or so. We start from scratch, where students are writing that resume and letters in weeks 3, 4, and 5. They create their layouts here in weeks 3, 4, and 5. And then we turn those into the website towards the end of the class. And yeah, it's just amazing how the confidence grows just going through that process. It's a lot of work, you know. I get that. So if anyone out there is feeling intimidated or unsure, really, once you get started and just get started, get a little bit under your belt. Yeah, it really does build your confidence. And that's across the board. I hear that 9 out of 10 times.
Right.
And as you said, very empowering to go through that. And often, Tammy, I'll hear people say, well, I just don't think I have that much work to show.
Yeah.
And then 10 weeks later, we have this huge portfolio.
Right.
And, sometimes it just takes a while, to really, when you start assembling your items, to really appreciate how much work you've done. So absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of what was going through my mind, especially for somebody who's not in a design field. It might be more it might be more challenging to determine what fits best in this sort of format, but you gave some great examples throughout the webinar, how someone focusing on business or writers, even criminal justice. I mean, it's not unlike creating a resume, but making it more visual, which really is a great way to sell yourself.
That's a good way to look at it. I really do look at it as an extension of the resume. In the good old days, honestly, when I graduated from my undergrad degree, and I was in the visual arts, but we put images on our resume. We had to actually lay out our resume and have them printed. It was part of a class that we took. But it's what we're doing right here and now. The idea of just adding visuals to your items. To me, it's just an extension of the resume. Absolutely.
Okay, I've got 2 more questions if you don't mind.
Okay.
One relates to finding people who can help assess your portfolio or judge it or critique it before you go live. Faculty are certainly always available. If you have any mentors, professional mentors that you're working with. You even mentioned prospective employers, which I thought was a really unique suggestion to get their feedback. Anyone else or anyone you shouldn't trust to critique your portfolio?
Well, that's a great question. And it's interesting. Sometimes people, I find, get really great advice from friends. 9 out of 10 times they don't. You don't really want to hear from somebody who's going to tell you what you want to hear. And it would be great if everyone could reach out to somebody in the business, and I realize not everyone has a mentor. And that's a good reason to go to some of these industry meetings, not even to meet potential employers, to meet somebody else who's in the field. And they can take a look at stuff. That's a tough one. I find it good advice comes from all directions, but you do need someone who's not afraid to tell you, to be honest with you. And you should seek that out. Don't be insecure about your work. Don't be afraid to share it. I have a student in my portfolio class right now who has shared his items with his current employer. He has no intention of leaving the company, but he just feels confident enough to share that. Right. That's always a tough call, if you can do that at work or not. Maybe you're looking to move on from that job. Maybe you're not. So it can be also, that can be a delicate situation also, who you reach out to. But generally, I find people in different professions are willing to help people who are entering the profession. So.
Right. And then the final question, it relates to just what you touched on, networking. Throughout your presentation, you encouraged students and alumni to walk in the door, pick up the phone, attend network, professional meetings to network. That all is sort of counter to this day and age of being so online and connected. But I just wanted to emphasize and stress how important it is to find the courage to do that, because there's nothing really beats that face-to-face interaction or phone-to-phone interaction. It just makes you so much, it's just a personal way of presenting yourself.
Absolutely. You said the key word, courage. I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
And so I'd say this to any of the alumni out there, we've been there. So we know what it's like. And it does take courage, especially if you're changing careers or changing jobs, to take that big step. But, once you've contacted a couple of employers, I think you shake the nervousness out. Yeah. And another thing, probably on that vein too, I'd say to people, don't get stressed if you goof a call or mess up an interview. Chances are that's going to happen, but you'll be better off for it the next interview, the next call. And it's all about just having the confidence to get out there and talk to people. But, don't let one bad interview, and even probably, less than that. As I say, I find researching companies is important, and calling them, that first step. Mm-hmm. Now and then you're going to have someone on the other end of the phone who's not going to be nice or polite, or just say, stop calling me, or no, we don't hire people like that. It's a stupid question. Who knows? It doesn't happen often, but if it does, I just say, cross that name off the list and move on.
Right. Tells you something about the business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all I have, Scott. If you don't have any parting words, I think we can close this webinar. I really appreciate you being here and sharing your wisdom.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.